Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're going to be talking about how to create some transitions, and I'll get into very simple transitions, and I'll get into actually some more complex transitions, and kind of bordering on some crazy little micro interaction based animations. So, when I think of transitions, there's a couple different things I went through in the beginning. Things like, having a screen transition in our first project, which is pretty simple when you want to just kind of have something dissolve. I also showed you, how to have something move in and out, and we're going to get into that in some later projects. But I want to kind of really showcase how to make transitions through a navigation. And I think that's pretty powerful for showcasing like active states and whatnot. So if you look at our main navigation here in our design page, you have this as well, and you can kind of follow along with me, or once again, you can do whatever you would like, as long as you're kind of applying these kind of properties and principles that I'm using, you should get some pretty similar results. Okay, so let's start with icons. If we take a look at a breakdown of this design, these are all in auto layout based frames, and what that means is, let me just bring that out here. If you take a look at this frame, it has like these columns, that's auto layout. If I take out auto layout, you can move things freely. If I put auto layout on the larger frame, you can see that you can decide whether that's horizontal. You can put them as columns or rows. If you want to, adjust the spacing between them, you can adjust the spacing around them. You can decide how they all line up. Right now, they're all the same size, so it's going to be the same in regards to how they are lined up. You can do a bunch of different things with auto layout, and it really allows you to make some pretty nice, dynamic layouts like that. And you can kind of do this with just the original frame without auto layout, as long as you set the constraints properly for every single icon. But right now, let's just delete that. Right now, I have these kind of designs set up within auto layout just because it's easier. Totally up to you what you want to do. And when we do get into complex animations, you're probably going to need to, take auto layout off so you can move items within frames if you need to, whether that's like through parallax or whether that's through these transitions that move. You can have icons moving if you'd like. Totally up to you. So let's jump in. Now, this is the original design. You see that you have a slider. They're all named slider for a very particular reason, which I'll get into. This is just to show you that there's an active state for each, and these are all the different icons that I pulled. So I'm going to just call that my base navigation. I'm going to create a new copy below. So I'm holding down Option, Shift to bring that there. Or you can just do Command C and Command V, and you can create a new one and drag it below. Totally up to you what you would like to do and whatever's easier for you. So I'm just going to do that, and I'm just going to call this nav just for the sake of it. And I'm going to create an interaction between all these different sections. I'm going to keep it really simple. I'm going to do only fill right now, and I'm just going to have this item sliding back and forth. Now, the way you want to do this, the reason why I have these named slider is because when you use Smart Animate, like I've mentioned a ton of times before, I make sure the names are the same so that way it animates across. So I'm going to actually select all of these because we're going to start with home as our main active state, and you can just start turning them off. This little eye will just hide it. And this is where you need to actually turn off auto layout frame, because as you notice, the frame started to move. So I'm going to press slider. You can turn this off at this point. This is not your final design. You don't have to really worry about things being like everything being in the right place, but I'm going to individually turn off all these different slider options. So I'll keep it like that. And I'm also going to change the fill for these ones. So we can just do like 10% so we know that they're not active. And we can pick a nice color for this home. What color should we pick? a blue like that, a banking like a blue. And we're going to call this one, we're going to just change it to circle. I mean, you can actually just select the whole slider since they're all actually set to black, even though they're not visible. You can just set them to blue and it'll set all of them to blue. Because if you take a look, oh, that one didn't set to blue. So we can actually just go through all of them and set those to blue as well, just in case. Okay, now let's take a look. Okay, now it works. Perfect. So now we have our active state. And what we're going to do is we're just literally going to create a second layer. And now we're just going to turn that one into black at 10%. And this is where it starts to kind of get maybe a little bit tedious. So now we have that second one. This one is going to be turned on to, we can actually just go ahead and pick that color. So we've created that second state and we can do that for the rest of them. So we can go ahead and we have 5 in total. And 5. So let's go ahead and do that. It'll take you like 10 seconds. Maybe I'm overestimating even my abilities, but it shouldn't take too long. I'm going to just try my best to kind of speed through this. I don't even know if that's the right color. Just boom. So this one is going to be black, and the code for black is all zeros. You can just type in the first 3 zeros and you will be good to go. This one's going to be settings. And you can see some like document colors there. That's the 4th slider. Let's do the same for here. I really should have duplicated not the active state of heart because it's making it a little harder for me to kind of go back and do it over and over again, but it's all right. Okay, so we have that one and then the final slider. Perfect. Okay, so we have our different states here. You know, we can tidy this up. I'm just going to stack them. And you should have this prototype as well, and you can take a look at kind of how I did it. I find it always helps to just go through the process on your own as well, like following along with me. I know I'm moving pretty quickly through that portion, so feel free to pause it if you need to. I'm going to click prototype, and like I've done before in the past, you know, just pressing heart, going to the second one. And here you can kind of do smart animate. And since these are pretty quick and small transitions, we can, you know, keep them pretty simple. So I'll press play. And that'll load up for me. So that was a nice quick transition. We had the slide going as well, which was really nice. Let me bump it up. Nice. So now you can just connect them all if you'd like. That's what I'm going to do. So we can even speed up this part. So we can just like connect all of these. And you can do that for every single one. You know, Figma is coming out with some new features, which will really help speed up some of the implementation in regards to these navigations. But this is really helpful. You don't need to have an entire screen done to be able to kind of showcase this kind of stuff. You know, you can showcase them individually, totally up to you. And as you can tell, I'm literally just dragging. I'm not even looking at this anymore because it's automatically applying whatever I want it to apply. So it keeps everything really consistent. And let's finish the last screen here. We have the heart going there and the home going there. And you can see this little mess of lines, but once you've kind of gone through it, it's pretty easy to just work with. So you can see that everything is moving as we want it to. And you've gone ahead and created your own simple navigation using some simple transitions over here. So we've seen some sliding, some fading when it comes to, the fills. And if you want to, you can even take this a step further and start animating some of these icons, which we'll do in the next video. But this is how you make a simple transition.